Welcome to Alternative Angle, the show where we look at things another way. Today's topic of conversation is one of my personal new favorites, Demon Slayer. If the idea of me talking about Demon Slayer excites you, you should consider donating to my Patreon because I do this whole channel by myself and it's clear that you like it. You like me. Anyway, without further shameless begging, and with a pointed warning about spoilers, let's jump right in. The critically acclaimed Demon Slayer is worth every single award it has earned and then some. I literally think they should include anime in new categories of entertainment purely so this show can earn itself some sort of Emmy award. It's that good. The show tells the story of Tanjiro, a teenager growing up in Taisho-era Japan who, after returning from a harmless errand from town, discovers his entire family has been murdered by demons. To put the icing on the cake, his sister Nezuko ends up transformed into a demon and immediately tries to sate her newfound hunger on her brother's blood. The overarching story is one that inverts every single demon hunting trope that exists, and to highlight this, I will compare it side by side to the story of my favorite demon hunter in existence, Yusuke Urameshi. I chose to talk about Yu Yu Hakusho for several reasons. Mainly, it and Demon Slayer both focus on hunting demons, and Yu Yu Hakusho was an exemplary standard of emotional masculinity at the time of its development in the early 90s. Yu Yu Hakusho is an upfront show about a teenage boy, Yusuke Urameshi, who, after dying, is brought back to life by the junior ruler of the spirit world, Koenma. With the newfound powers awarded to him by Koenma, Yusuke is tasked with catching demonic criminals hiding out in the living world and forcing them to return to the spirit world to serve out their punishments. Find bad guy, beat him or get beaten by him, elevate in power level due to training, rinse, and repeat. What made the show stand apart was watching Yusuke confront emotional turmoil and reach new heights in power as the blocks between himself and his emotions were removed. Yusuke was at the forefront of an emerging trope, confronting the traditional ideas of masculinity and emotional unavailability with the reality of the fact that he has softer feelings for the people he loves. This softer emotion, love, is what took Yusuke to new heights of power time and time again in exposition that at this point is played out, but at the time was still relatively new and pretty well executed. The problem with this model is that it defaults to the idea that men are naturally closed off to their emotions and need to, sometimes literally, be beaten into submission in order to access them. In each instance where Yusuke needed to raise his power level, training alone was never enough. Yusuke never truly reached new heights until his feelings were aligned with his powers. They would always complete the puzzle and allow him to access depths to his strength that were previously unimaginable. His knowing that he needed to do this also usually had no effect on whether or not he could actually get it done. This is a trauma response. Yusuke comes from a broken home. He and his mother were abandoned by his father when Yusuke was a small child. His mother, Atsuko, is an alcoholic who frequently goes on public benders. It is heavily implied in the manga that when she is hard up for cash, she sells herself for sex. Yusuke is a high school dropout who robs people his age in order to purchase money for groceries to feed his mom. He spends all of his time, when not doing that, beating up people who talk about what a hoe she is. There are a lot of them. Yusuke spits in the face of authority figures on sight, doesn't like or feel any affinity toward most of his peers, and actually identifies more with the demons he fights than the people and planet he's tasked with protecting. This actually almost gets him killed in season 4 when he encounters another spirit detective who doesn't share his worldview. This doesn't stop him from doing his job, but it does make it very difficult for him to access the emotions that don't serve to protect him or put food on his table on a day-to-day basis. Love doesn't really have a huge place in Yusuke's formative existence, and therefore is hard for him to access when he needs it. Tanjiro, on the other hand, comes from an extremely loving and well-adjusted family. Tanjiro's flashbacks to his home life aren't a source of trauma to be overcome, but serve to connect him with his reason for fighting. His strong strong, loving feelings for his family and the empathy he feels for people who have also had their lives ruined by demons provide him an endless well of inspiration. Tanjiro's home life was positively picturesque before everyone he loved was murdered. He's determined above all else to help find a way to restore Nezuko to her status as a human because he cannot stand the idea of losing someone else in his beloved family. Tanjiro's feelings come first and create his will to fight, not vice versa as is in the case with Mr. Urameshi. This is showcased in his first meeting with Tomioka Gyu, where Tanjiro is easily defeated, but the loving bond between himself and his sister Nezuko, which somehow still exists despite her demonic transformation, actually moves the Slayer, who then lets Nezuko live and sets Tanjiro on his journey. Tanjiro's love immediately provides him both the inspiration for his journey and absolution from the harsh judgment of those who would kill his sister on the grounds of her very existence. Before we go too much further, I would like to thank the people that help me every day to get this channel off the ground. My Patreon subscribers. Thank you, each and every one of you. Ah, yes, this. I actually emailed you about this last week. It turns out that you have no subscribers on Patreon. Anyway, Yusuke's journey over the course of the show was his slow discovery of softer emotions by realizing that he loved people, specifically these people who he brought into his life and had been through so much with over the course of the series. Keiko, his childhood friend and sweetheart, Kuwabara, his lifetime sparring partner and best bro, Hiei and Kurama, his stalwart demon buddies who help him in his every single hour of need. Yusuke is kept grounded by his friends, serve as a new family and reason for life. This is epitomized in the death of Genkai, when Yusuke, through the death of his beloved sensei, realizes that she was so much more than his teacher. She was like a mother to him. She raised him up from a lowly power level, never took his crap, helped him whenever he asked, and even let him play her prized games. The fact that Yusuke didn't realize that he loved her until she was brutally killed right in front of him is because he is walled off from his emotions. His journey over the course of the show was realizing that this wall existed and working to dismantle it by taking care to love those around him while they were still around him. Demon Slayer inverts this trope with Tanjiro, usually placing Tanjiro as a grounding element for everyone else to learn from. Tanjiro is well adjusted, perhaps the only one on the show who truly is. Zenitsu, his friend in the yellow Hayori, seems well adjusted until you put him in close proximity to a lady. Then it all goes out the window in a series of sexual assault style tropes that are very well known in the anime community. Tanjiro is openly disgusted by this behavior and actually rescues the local women from Zenitsu. My favorite line is Tanjiro's reaction to Zenitsu recognizing him by his uniform. He scorns the very idea of knowing Zenitsu by saying, Tanjiro clearly feels like Zenitsu is far too classless to ever be caught dead in the same room with and does not hesitate to educate him about it with these hands. Tanjiro's relationship with Inosuke is an even greater example of Tanjiro's effect on those around him. Inosuke is a man who was clearly raised in isolation and has no experience at all with human affection. Inosuke is so out of touch with his feelings that he doesn't even acknowledge being physically hurt. This is epitomized in his boar mask, which aside from making the connection between Inosuke and his beastly ways, also serves to hide the only soft thing about him, his face. When we first meet Inosuke, he thrives on the pain and discomfort of those around him. He doesn't understand expressions of kindness and seeks to bait Tanjiro emotionally so that he can sink to a level that Inosuke understands. Instead of fighting back, Tanjiro pours sweetness on Inosuke, gifting him with his food after Inosuke is caught purposefully stealing it to anger him, piling patience and empathy on Inosuke's every mean and petty act. Tanjiro acts as a socializing force on Inosuke and everyone around him by teaching through example. Tanjiro intrinsically understands that people lash out because they are coming from a place of hurt, and as such, he cannot respond with further hurt, or the people around him will never truly heal. Tanjiro is patient and kind with Inosuke, and as the series progresses, we watch him grow as a direct result of Tanjiro's teaching. Gradually, Inosuke learns to stop these aggressive and unfortunate behaviors in favor of a more thoughtful and temperate approach. Tanjiro has this effect on people. Yusuke's enemies serve the purpose of pushing him and his friends to new heights, usually by murdering someone he truly loves. This is shown most outstandingly in the Sensui arc of Yu Yu Hakusho. Yusuke is targeted by a big baddie named Shinobu Sensui. Over the course of their battle, one in which Yusuke is outmaneuvered and outgunned, sometimes literally, Yusuke is summarily executed and the team loses. This is a gut-wrenching moment for everyone and a total plot twist for the viewer. You wouldn't think that an anime that started with the death of the main protagonist would do it again, but it does, and it works. Everyone is shattered by the death of their comrade in arms, jumps to a new elevated power level, including Yusuke, who death just clearly has no power over. After this jump in power is achieved by his friends, Yusuke revives from the dead, newly strengthened again, and proceeds to off the bad guy's goofy. In Demon Slayer, the enemies serve to highlight the collective trauma experienced by both humans and demons. Demons, while not innocent by any stretch of the imagination, also suffer. The show does a masterful job of giving you insight into the demons' motivations and humanizing them while not taking away the evil of their actions. This juxtaposition turns the battle from one inherently about humans versus demons and transforms it into trauma versus humanity. The presence of trauma dehumanizes whoever it touches, be they human or demon. Tanjiro understands this and views every death as a tragic loss, even the demons. He frequently cries as he takes them down because all demons were once human too, and as such, their deaths are also a blow. This empathetic approach makes Tanjiro stand out even amongst Demon Slayers and doesn't endear him to many of the leaders of the Demon Slayer community, the Hashiras. Tanjiro's level of true empathy demonizes these leaders, transforming them from the justified arm of humanity into mindless killers in their own right. It is the presence of trauma inflicted by demons that has transformed them into the mirror image of that which they hunt. This is put on stark display after Nezuko, a demon, is discovered with Tanjiro by the Hashiras and is nearly killed, even though she is completely innocent. Nezuko did nothing but exist as a demon, and that was enough for the Hashira to stand back and let her be treated like an animal, no questions asked. After watching poor Nezuko be stabbed and tempted with human blood by Sanemi, we are forced to ask ourselves if the Hashira are fighting demons because they want to protect humanity, or if they are fighting demons because they are filled with hate for those demons. Demon Slayer is truly an incredible leap for men in the anime genre, and I am truly proud of the writers who birthed Tanjiro into this world. Tanjiro is an inversion of every problematic male stereotype that exists so far, and the show is worth every award, contrary to what the haters say. Okay, so I honestly find myself a little disappointed that season 2 of Demon Slayer is going to be a movie, because I just feel like it's not that I think the movie is going to be bad, but I feel like they're just cutting down on so much quality Tanjiro time, and I just wanted all of it. But I'm sure it's going to be good. It's coming out soon, and I'm really, really excited about it, to be perfectly honest. I have to know what happens on that Mugen Train. The season 2 movie will air in America sometime very, very soon. So if you're interested in a rewatch of the series, you can check out season 1 on Hulu, Crunchyroll, and VRV. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay sharp. Also, if you are a fan of Yu Yu Hakusho, you need to be aware that Sensui's neck has an Instagram. I find this hilarious. So follow Sensui's nextagram. Follow Sensui's nextagram. Follow Sensui's neck. Follow Sensui's next Instagram. Follow Sensui's neck. And when you follow Sensui's neck, tell him I sent you. If you found yourself seeing things from my angle, and I hope that you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Share it with your friends. If you are watching this on To Be Seen, don't forget to hop on over to my home channel, The Alternative Angle, and subscribe to me there. I have bingeable content there for you to watch for my YouTube lunch. Happy YouTube lunch for me, and happy YouTube lunch for you. Binge my content. So far, Team Adjacent is really just me, and everything associated with this channel I either directly pay for or do with my own two hands. So if you like this show, consider donating to my Patreon. I have bills to pay. Link in the description. If you want to chat with me or send me ideas, definitely do that. You can email The Alternative Angle or follow my problematic Twitter. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay sharp.